¿Fuiste al gym? How's the gym?
I like Lifetime Fitness. I
Está
don't
bien
know.
chido.
The one in the Woodlands?
Yeah. It's
It's
really
a
nice. They
resort.
yeah, it's a resort. They have
Literally.
everything, but I don't know. I wouldn't trade my gym for it.
No?
Nah.
Why?
I don't know. I like the atmosphere in the gym that I go to. Yeah,
And
those
same
things.
Ah,
for
pues, ¿a
Sencillo,
cuál
right?
vas?
Project Fitness.
That would you can tilt it down a little bit.
Project Fitness. I go to Freedom Gym too. I like those.
How do you like Freedom?
I really like it.
A lot?
Yeah, I like it. Porque todos van ahí, they do their thing, bro. Like they don't.
Siento que Freedom's cool and everything, pero como que
Freedom is a gym?
Sí.
Aquí en Conroe?
Mhm.
Okay. I like the one in my house. Simple, sencillo.
He actually does have a gym.
Where do you go?
Right there in the community, there's a little gym.
The Woodlands Hills.
If you ever need, bro, I told Rodo too, just let me know.
Hey, pero está chido o no?
I mean, you got the essentials, you know?
Essentials.
Your bench press, the cable,
That's how you know.
treadmills, squats, yeah.
Y imagínate si estuvieras en una tienda que arreglan teléfonos.
I know, right?
That'd be crazy. All right, guys, so we're live. We're live. This is season 3, I think, or season 4. Ya ni sé cuál es. Episode 1. Today, guys, we have Rodolfo here. Solis, your family es mi familia. I like that. And Andress. What's up, guys?
How you doing?
Chilling.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Luego, Rodolfo.
Aquí nomás.
The gym, how was it this morning? It was good?
It was great.
What'd you work out?
I did some arms, just
Arms?
strictly arms today.
Ah, dijo, es que se va a ver.
Hey,
Mhm.
pa
que se
que
vea.
pa que salga en cámara.
Okay, I'm a realtor that you're in good hands.
Yeah.
That's good. No, I did legs. I did legs
Leg
this
day
morning.
today?
Yeah, more hamstring base, but it was pretty good. ¿Y tú, Andrés? What'd you do this morning?
Me? Man, I just took care of my baby. You know, I just have a 3-month-old.
Oh, really?
So, you
¿Y
know.
otro? ¿Qué viene?
No, that's it.
Yeah?
That's it.
Se
3
acabó la
boys.
factory?
That's it.
You
But,
like
you know,
girl?
no,
The fourth
bro.
one?
No,
The
yeah.
fourth one. One more.
It's tough, you know. It's just with the activities of the kids and work and the fast-paced life in the U.S. You know, it's just
Staying
4
active.
kids. It's just it's hard.
It is. Oh, yo tengo 2. I want like 2 more.
You want 2 more?
No,
Ah,
si se dan twins de una vez, más
Yeah.
chido. But I love kids though. Like
Yeah.
when they come to elevate and everything, I'm always playing with them. I just love kids.
Yeah. I love kids too. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love my kids. I play with, you know, everyone's kids and stuff. But man, it's just the time. It's a time thing,
that's
you
more
know.
than anything. Pero
You know.
están cuánto one behind the other?
Now my oldest is 9. Then I have he's gonna turn 2 in April, and then the 3-month-old. So
okay.
those
So
two,
you're pretty.
yeah, the ones that are back to back, you know, the middle one and the 3-month-old is just, it's a lot.
They'll stay together
know,
because
they-
el mío, mine's 15 and my daughter's 12, so they're like 3.5 years apart, and they've kind of stayed together. Like se cuidan, they play. You know, sometimes there's that gap where it's like you're too old, or you know,
Yeah.
and you can't carry yourself that
Well,
much.
my oldest son, he's a great big brother, you know.
Yeah.
Siempre los está cuidando, you know. He's always playing
It's
with
a free
them,
babysitter.
you know. But you know, but you know, that age gap really comes into play whenever they go into their teens, you know, and then I
Yeah.
understand, you know, when he's 16, 17, he's not gonna be hanging out with a 10-year-old,
10-year-old,
you know,
right?
so.
Yeah, right. See, no se puede. But yeah, so guys, you guys might not know, these guys helped me with getting our first house. So we started the process like a year before. No, I think we met up once,
Yep.
a year before, and I think the hardest thing for me was being a business owner. Was the hard part because of the 1099s and the class, what is it,
The
S corp,
taxes,
the
yeah.
taxes, all that
Mhm.
paperwork. So we had to prep it, and I remember it was pretty stressful because we were ready to buy, and then we couldn't.
Yeah.
Right, because they're like, we don't know who you are.
Financially, you were ready, but financially, you weren't ready.
Exactly, exactly.
Mm.
That's literally what the loan people said. They were like, well, I remember like, but yo ignorant. I was like, well, I have a business, like, and we do okay. Why
Mhm.
can't you give me a house? Well, your business has money, but you don't have money.
Yeah.
And I was like, what does that mean? Like, I'm the same person.
Yeah.
They're like, no, we got to do it. But then we got that going, and we started. And I appreciate that, guys. So anybody that needs, like, has questions or anything, feel free to jump in. You know, we got some likes already.
You know, and something that you just said is
¿No está
crucial, right?
reportado?
Yeah.
Sí. Pero lo que dijiste es importante, you know, because that's what I tell everyone when they're first trying to think about buying a house. When you start that thinking, it's always good to start talking to someone, right?
Right.
To start getting prepared.
Right.
Because sometimes you think you're ready. When you think you're ready, but you not might really be there.
Yeah.
You
Correct,
know,
correct.
so
Whether it's paperwork or I think a lot of things that also helped me is I didn't know like I owed like there's one for a bank that I owed from like 8 years ago.
That you
It's
forgot
like
about.
it's like $150, and I was like, what? They're like
Mhm.
for that, and they're like, yeah, you gotta take care of that. So I think that was important because I think we started early because the goal was November. I think we started like July, June. I think we started
Mhm.
the conversation like after the year passed of I had to pay myself and do all that other
Mhm.
stuff. So that was good, and you deal with a lot of new home buyers.
Oh yes, I strive in home buying. Like it's my favorite thing to do. Help first time home buyers, and
Okay.
we like the complexity of it sometimes, but it's and that's a misconception sometimes that goes on, right? That it's hard to become a first time home buyer, and overall it's not, right? Because like you were saying that you were struggling with your financial statements, right?
Right.
But if we would have talked to Andres maybe earlier, we would have teamed up with your CPA too to kind of together work as a team, right?
Correct.
And that's why kind of piggyback on what Andres said. It's important that you start telling people that are gonna help you to buy a house start earlier,
Start
right?
earlier.
It's never too early to start. If you
Mhm.
have 6 months in your lease left, ask me now about how to buy a house in 6 months,
Right.
because we'll team up with your tax preparer, we'll team up with your lender, and obviously me. I'll give you the advice of what you can and can't afford, and financially we'll look at your numbers and see where you stand at,
Right.
right? And help you prepare. It's
Go
a
from there.
preparation, right? And
Absolutely.
obviously,
That's
thank you
good.
for the trust as well. When
Yeah.
you bought
So
your
so
house.
people know you're the realtor, right?
Correct.
So you're gonna help us get a house, look for a house, whatever we're
Negotiate the
looking for,
price.
negotiate the price.
Yep.
So that way we don't have to kind of get on Google and start looking for houses. We just kind of tell you, this is
Yep.
what we're in mind. This is what we think. Then you communicate with Andres. Andres is considered the lender.
I'm the lender.
The
Yeah.
lender.
Mhm.
And the lender, what is the lender, real quick?
The lender is the financing,
The
right? The
financing
financing
part of
for
it.
the loan, right?
Okay.
So the loan that you're gonna get to be able to purchase a house.
Okay. So then talk to you, and then you're going to tell me, well, we need to talk to him. Let's have
Yep.
your taxes. Let's get all that situated. And then after I communicate with you, then you tell me this is your range, right? I think we did get like a pre-qualification,
Right.
right?
Well, I do a full pre-approval, right?
Okay.
Because I will take an application. We'll have that conversation like I did with you after I look at everything and say, hey, Ray, well, this is what we're looking at. You know, some people are ready right then and there. Some people may not be. Entonces, that's when we start the process, right? And I like to make a comparison to when you feel sick, right?
Yep.
You're feeling sick. You don't know what's wrong with you. So what do? You go to the doctor, right?
Right.
And the doctor tells you, okay, this is what you're sick of, and this is what you need to take to get better. Same
Okay.
thing with when you're trying to get a house, right?
Gotcha.
Hey, I don't know what to do. You go to the lender. Let's go have a conversation. Let me look at your financials, and then okay, this is what you need to do. You may be ready now, or no. You're 3 months away, or you're a couple steps away.
Or like what paperwork I need. I think I got a pre-approval from you, so we had some numbers, but I think you still needed a few more. I think I had to send you like my 2 years tax statements too. And then from there we had a number, right?
Correct.
We had a number on what we needed to do, and then you started sending us houses actually right away.
Yeah, we started sending new houses and kind of team up with Andres. Hey, Andres, how much down payment they have? How much closing costs do they need? Because I need to know your financials too
Mhm.
to be able to negotiate with against the sellers, right? Because obviously my goal is to get you in there with the least money possible, and I think we accomplished that,
Yeah,
right?
we did. I think
And I mean, it was a overall great deal, and we team up with the lender, decide what your financials are and what your financial goal is as well, because sometimes you might love this house, but financially it doesn't make this sense for you, right? And I like to know your long-term goals as well.
Right.
Hey, this property, your monthly payment is going to be $1,500, for example, and then in 3 years, the average predicted rent is going to be $1,700. So it's going to cover your rent, and you're able to move on to a
To move
different home.
something else.
So it's important that the client tells us their goals, not only their initial goals. This might be their forever home, and let's look for that forever home. But it might be your first step into becoming a real estate investor.
Right.
And I want to know that. That way, I can guide you properly on the numbers, right? Team up with Andres, negotiating against the seller. What can we take advantage of? Get an inspection. What can we take advantage of that inspection as well? So knowing your goals is important. And it's not just about going to show you houses that you love. It's about, hey, let's diagnose this house.
Right.
Is this really for you?
Right. And I think that's something that we did because we did have in mind that I did want this was gonna be our first house, and I think we did get approved for like 3 and above or 340 or something like that. But I think like you said, we talked. We told you what we wanted, our goals, that I wanted to have rentals later on and things like that. And I think part of the conversation too that we had, me and Jimena, was part of like, either we get a nicer house and the payment's a little higher, and then that's gonna set us behind a little bit on our other goals, or we get something that's nice, something that's ours, just to get our foot on the door,
Mhm.
because this was my first house, And I think one of the biggest things for me, and I'm sure people can have been there too, is like credit wasn't a big deal for me before. So I didn't have many things on my credit, and then the few things that I did have, like two of them were like from like 4 or 5 years ago or whatever. So it was like I've always believed cash is king, right?
Yeah.
So if I can't afford it, you know, besides a car, right? If I can't afford it right now, there's no point for me to put it in a credit card. There's no point for me to do that. But at the end of the day, that's what kind of delayed us an extra year
Yeah.
because they're like, well, you have no credit,
No credit history.
no credit history.
And I see that a lot, honestly. I see that a lot, especially with Latinos. You know, we have that mentality that, hey, you know, if you have the cash and you can buy it in cash, buy it in cash. But the United States works differently, especially when you're getting financing, right? They want to see that you getting things on credit. They want to see that you can establish a credit history and that you can pay on time and you're responsible with your credit, right?
It's kind of like trust. If credit score is like your trust score, right? If you're paying off, if you got a Best Buy credit card and a car loan and then a Chase credit card or whatever, and then you come to the lender and they're like, okay, you paid off these people, your trust score is 700. I can trust you to pay this mortgage.
Correct.
You know, so
Exactly.
you want to build that trust with the financial institutions.
Right. And I think what I had to do was start with a secured loan, a secured credit card.
Yes,
Because I
that's
think
the
I
one we
only had
advise.
one credit card, and it was like $300 limit that I've had for
Yeah.
10 years. And I just and with that one, I think at that time, now I switched it, but at that time I think I was just paying like my light bill and my water bill. I
Yeah,
think,
with
and then I was just kind of like, and then that's another thing too because it was so small. Sometimes I made el avión. Well, this was at the first when I first got it, and I was, you know, people was like, well, you've been paying on it, you can get a bigger credit limit, and I was like, nah, ¿pa qué? Like, no me lo voy a querer gastar, you know. So we started with Regions, shout out to Regions here locally, and I think we got like they got $1,000 one and then a $1,500 one, but it was secure. Pero por lo mismo because I think we didn't want to run my credit either at the time to kind of not start building that, but so we got all that situation. We got our house. Well, actually, we saw several houses first.
Yeah, we saw a couple houses. We looked at new construction. We looked at pre-owned homes.
Right.
We looked at a lot, right? And people were thinking that, hey, the market is slow because, you know, that was what people were saying online.
Right.
But you're a witness, right? We would like this house. We were writing an offer. It was already option pending, right?
Literally.
So the market is, man, you can't time the market.
Right.
You cannot
It's
time
always
the
moving.
market. Yeah, it's
Fluid.
always moving.
Correct. And I think during that time, I think a lot of people that would talk to me, they were like, no way, like it's gonna drop and wait. It was, you know,
A year after it
me
has
in
to
the
drop.
back, right? Me in the back of my head, I'm like, maybe I should. But then I think my biggest thing was like, but how much more am I gonna save?
Yeah, exactly.
And my main goal was just let's get the first house. After that, then we can start building everything around it.
That's exactly right. You start building equity immediately, right, when you have your house. And, you know, there's a lot of memes going around right now that they show that, hey, you know, back in 1930, the interest rate was, I don't know, 7.99, 8%, 14%. If you would have waited till the rates dropped, you would have waited 22 years.
Yep.
Right.
In that time frame, real estate quadrupled.
Right.
So the thing is, we've been accustomed to just focus on the interest rate, and you forget about the equity that people are building when they buy houses, right? It's
And
an
appreciation
investment,
over time.
the appreciation, right?
Right.
So interest rate is just a small factor of what, you know, the future holds for you. Yes, it does have, it plays a factor in, you know, what your monthly payment would be, but the appreciation that comes along with buying a house, you know, outplays the interest rate in the long run. You
And
know?
a lot of times people are waiting for the rates to drop, but they're renting. And out of the rent, it's 100% interest rate because you're not getting any.
exactly.
There you-
Yeah, yeah,
okay,
yeah.
You'll be
that's a good way
lucky
to
if you
put
get.
it.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
You'll be lucky if you get a security deposit back. So if you're thinking about the interest rates dropping, you can't time the market. Take advantage of now. You know, you walked into with the equity, right?
Right. So I think we looked at several houses, and there was one that he might not really like, the red door one.
Yeah.
And I think during that time salió una película de Scary
Yeah.
about the red door, and I don't like that stuff. So I was like, hey, none of that.
You
La
get your
pintabas
emotion,
nomás.
Yeah, right. But so we tried, and I think we were just too late. I think on that one. I think what happened.
We thought about it too long.
Right.
Yeah, we
And
thought
then,
about it too long, and nos la ganaron. Pero
right.
at the end of the day, we found something that.
that we wanted. Yeah, and it was the biggest thing for us at the time was, and this is why I liked it, because we told you like out of like 8 things that we wanted, we were like the top 3 are more important. All the other ones are extra, right? So it was like a backyard, a big backyard for the dogs, and then 4 bedrooms. And then I think those were the main 2 things, and then of course everything else, big rooms, blah blah blah,
Location was
big
good.
bid. Oh yeah, that was another one. Location, because we wanted to be in a position where the kids could ride the bus to school, because it'd been years. Every year I've been taking them, and even though when we got the house, I still took them for like the first 6 months, just 'cause I was just used to it. But But now, like Anthony just gets up and then goes,
Yeah.
you know, and then it's right down the corner. It's like he has to walk 3 houses, and Alexis walks like 3 houses the other way, and she's there. But that was a big thing. So we did get it. We sent the offer, and then I think the biggest thing that I like too is you saved me a lot. Like I think I don't know if it was a down payment that we skipped or
Both.
the closing and
We got you the closing cost covered.
Closing
Right.
cost covered,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that's what it was. And then from there, as all this is going on, we're communicating on what we're saving. So when we picked that house, the restroom was a little smaller.
Yep.
And that was like, I think that was like number 3 for Jimena. And I was like, well, and you having the experience gave us some feedback and stuff, was like, well, you can make it bigger. You can do
Yes.
this, you can remodel, you can do that. And I think that's very important for us because even if I might quote unquote know everything, like we forget certain things at certain
Yep.
positions, and then you brought it in and told us. And then same thing with you, you gave us some feedback as far as like the insurance. If we paid the insurance up front, then our payment was gonna go down or something like that, or we would be approved a lot faster. You remember something like
There's
that?
some tricks and things that you can do in the loan, but yeah, I mean, what you said is, as a home buyer, especially when you're going through the home buying journey, your emotions come into play a lot, right? So you need people
Guidance.
that guidance,
You
right?
need guidance, and
so-
any field, not just in real estate. You want to let the expert guide you, right?
Right.
If you go buy a car, let somebody guide you on how to buy a car, what to look for in a car. So you will kind of lean on a mechanic, right? Let the mechanic do its thing. If
Right.
you're sitting in real estate, tell us what you want. Kind of going back to what you said, if that you're not gonna find a 10 out of 10 house
Right.
sometimes, right? Because the rooms are gonna be too small or the kitchen's not placed where you want
Right.
it to be at. So if it checks out 8 or 9 of your boxes, then you know what? Let's strongly consider
That's
this.
a winner, yeah.
Because you can fix some things, modify some things, and if I can get your closing costs covered, now you're saving $10,000.
Correct.
Now I can modify the kitchen, something that they didn't have to come out of pocket, that we plan to come out of pocket.
Right.
Now you
exactly.
can reinvest it into your
Correct,
house
correct.
and make it to your liking a little bit more.
Right.
Painted that you could have painted that red door. You made
Edgar
it work more.
Merlo says that's
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
Edgar Merlo says that boy Rodolfo Solis, best
Edgar
realtor
is a
in
really
Texas.
good friend that
Yeah.
and probably the best barber in town.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, he does good. I just wish he was closer.
yeah.
I'm just busy all the time, so it's hard for me to make that drive. But yeah, he
Talk
is.
to him. He'll make some
Yeah,
work for you.
we need to open one next door. Yeah, I
Yeah.
might as well take over the whole building.
Yeah.
But real quick to what you said, I think when we got the house, the restroom was we wanted to make it bigger, and with you guys when y'all helped us save on that, we're like, okay, now we can make it even bigger. Now we can,
Yes.
instead of just making it a little bigger, okay, now we were able to we did the whole restroom,
Yeah.
all tile ceilings, everything. We spread it out. We actually moved the wall.
I mean, that's super happy now.
And she was happy, right? And I was like, that's her main thing was 2 sinks, and at the time there was just 1 sink, a
Yeah.
small. It was like entrabas, está el sink, the toilet, and the shower. Like you couldn't even take 2 or 3 steps. Now we both fit comfortably. Our shower's real big, so that was key for us too, because como dices tú, we knew we're gonna spend this much on a down, más o menos. We're gonna spend this much on closing, but then when we didn't, we're like, okay, now we can put this money
Into the house.
into it, right? So we painted the whole house. We took all the carpet out. We put the floor in. So it's like a whole new house. And the kitchen was the one thing we waited on. But everything else, como dices, to checked off.
Yep.
And the kitchen, we're like, we'll take it, So, and then the closing process was quick.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that was like a few things that I think I still had to pay what I just talked, the
Yeah,
150.
Yeah.
And then getting like some letters. And one thing that I want to tell people is like networking helped me able to do that, because people that come to the shop were able to, that work in the city, that work in certain positions, was able to help me. Like, okay, I can do it. I can get in the city. I can do this. I can do that. I don't want to go over it too much, but they were able to give me a letter that says
Yes.
it is paid off. There is, nothing on hold. There isn't, because I think the process was like 4 weeks. From by the time I paid it, because I couldn't just go to a bank to pay it. I had to call like their main branch,
Yeah. Yeah.
because the account was like fully closed. Nobody could find
Right,
it, but it was
too
still there.
long ago. It was too old.
Too old, but it was still there. They still
Yeah,
wanted
yeah.
their 150 or 170, whatever it was. Then I had to get a money order. Then I had to mail it in. So, and then
It's a process.
it's a
That's why you want
process.
the guidance.
right, and that was one thing that helped. But como te digo, like networking also helped, because if I didn't know nobody, I would have to wait 4 weeks till that paper got there. Then it came back. Then it went to the court or to the county,
Yes.
and then we
It's a
got it all.
process.
But it was cool.
And networking is how we actually ended up helping you, right? Because I started the soccer team, and I
that is
invited you
true.
to play, and Andress was playing. That's how you met Andress.
That's true.
Networking
That's
in
true.
soccer.
I didn't want to
Right.
go with them because you screamed at me once when I
Uh,
missed a shot, but I was like, okay, it's all good. Hey, but we do need to play again. Well, you
Well,
guys
Edgar
still play.
too.
You still play.
Yeah, still playing
But
Sundays.
I still play
You
on
said-
Sundays. Yeah.
Ya no me
Come on,
invitaron.
Edgar.
Damn. That means I
Edgar
wasn't that
playing
good.
too.
That means I'm not that good. But no,
Nah,
yeah,
nah,
yeah.
you're good.
I want to get back into it. Actually, we need to open an indoor soccer.
Man, don't get
Ooh,
me started
that
on
big
that,
breath.
man.
You'll be the king for that. You're
Don't
the
get me
king of
started on that.
businesses.
I'm
Yeah.
telling you, man. That's everybody's always playing, right? I mean, it's just people return.
Different age
return,
gaps
you
too.
know.
18-year-olds are playing 45, 50-year-olds. There's 35 plus leagues.
Right. Hey, did you ever
People
figure
never
out
stop
anything here on Fraser? What they're
On
building there, that sports
no,
complex?
no,
It's built. Like the warehouse is up now, and
but it's
there's
been up for like a
concrete.
year now.
Yeah.
Right next to
There's
Planet
no
Fitness.
indoor in Conroe. I mean, the closest is Dutch Lions, and that's not
Not
indoor
indoor.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not
because it
indoor.
gets flooded, and then you gotta wait till.
That's true. But you haven't.
Not hecho nada. They haven't opened. It
I
might be.
drove by there, and
Yeah.
antes estaba un sign que decía Sports Complex, ya no está el sign.
Ya no está. They probably lost the lease. It's very common for leases to fall off even after they contract for many reasons. You know,
But they're still building back there.
might have changed something.
But it's just a warehouse. Or it's just
Yeah, well, I mean, the warehouse is up. I don't know what's
the
inside,
structure.
but
yeah.
the structure's up, and then they poured all the parking and look what looks like the parking lot area. But it's behind the one that's on the main street. Ves que estaba that
So
beat
you-
up one? That's
Mhm.
behind there.
I don't know what it could be. I could find out. Yeah.
Can you?
Yeah.
You
I
do
can-
commercial too?
I started getting into commercial a little bit. You know, it's a whole different animal, they say, right? Doing commercial, but I'm learning. I'm taking classes now, and that's soon to come as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. And can you lend on those as
Yeah,
well?
yeah.
So what can you lend on? Everything, anything.
Anything, hard money, commercial, first-time home buyers, investors, no
No.
taxes, no income.
No social, no none,
No social,
no
no-
ID,
yeah, yeah.
no for real?
Yeah, for real. Just
Like a
let's just have a
I-10 or
conversation.
something?
I-10 too. Yeah, just again, have a conversation.
Reaching out,
Yeah, let's find out what you have, what you're working with, and then
right? And worst case scenario, you're just gonna tell them, well, you just need to do this, this, and this,
Correct.
and then we'll
Put
talk
together
again
a
in 3
plan.
months
Give it a
and talk
financial
about.
plan.
Yeah.
That's
That's
good.
the best place to start. Just ask.
What do you think? Is it hard for people to ask?
I think people are
just
scared to
scared?
get
Yeah,
shut
they're
down.
just yeah.
Because
And the misconception is buying a house is hard, or getting into
Yeah.
real estate is hard. So that's
every
but it's-
scenario is
yeah,
different.
right.
Every
There's no-
client
yeah.
is different.
everybody's situation is different. But having a conversation, I'm not gonna go tell anybody. If you come and tell me I don't have a social, I have idea, I'm not gonna turn around and go tell, hey, no tiene nada.
Right.
No, it's strictly confidential,
right.
and I'm just here trying to help you. Right
Exactly.
at the end, our goal is try to make whatever we can happen so that you can get into a house.
Right.
Right. So that's everybody's goal. So we're here to help.
That's good. That's good. But again, reach out. See,
Yeah.
It's
Reach
like
out,
I mean, but it's like anything, right? It's like
Just ask.
business, like the gym, like anything. If you don't ever ask questions on working out, then you don't know how
where
to
to
work
go.
out, or you
Yeah.
know what to do or what exercises to do. So I think it all comes around. So how long you been doing this now?
I've been doing this now, coming up to 4 years in June. So about three and a half years. And
You
it's-
already do all this?
I already do all this and more to come. I've had we done some investing on the side,
Oh,
and
nice.
just not a whole lot, right? But enough to learn and to guide a first time investor into
Right.
it, right? There's so many loans, right? Right now we have a client, who built his house first, and so obviously he built it, so it's way under retail value.
Mm-hmm.
So he has probably $100,000 in equity. What can he do with $1,000 in equity if he doesn't have physical cash? And what we talked to you about,
Yeah.
a DSCR loan.
Yeah.
Those are they're
Those are
very
the good
popular right now and very, very good loan.
That's
Very
good.
loan.
So people that don't know, right? If you own a house outright, you don't owe, or even if you owe a little bit of money, if you have enough equity, which was what happened over the during COVID, that house prices just spiked up.
Skyrocket.
And you have equity, you could cash out money out of your house. Like if you need to, consolidate loans, car payments, things like that, where it's pushing your limits on a monthly basis, you can cash out of your house and pay everything off, and all you have is a house payment now.
Right. So what do I need to do? So, for my example, I think when we got it, is it based on what it's appraised,
Yes.
or is it based
It's
on
on what the appraisal, the new appraisal,
the
right?
new-
So
and
every
that's a
time,
yearly thing?
every time that you're gonna get a loan,
I would say market thing, because interest rate does drive value, right? So if people are waiting for the rates to drop, you can expect homes to go up. I think, in my
it's
opinion,
an
right?
inverse relationship.
Rates
Yeah.
goes down,
Home goes
homes
up.
goes up. Okay.
So what
Rates
are you
go
truly
up.
saving, right? I would just think that, like I said earlier, don't time the market because you can't time it.
So that's what I'm saying. So me, for instance, tomorrow I'm like, all right, let me figure out how much money I have in my house. What are my key steps or the starting
Contact a
steps?
realtor, because a realtor will do what they call comps, right? And even when you're buying your first house, first investment property, always ask your realtor for comps. And what comps are is what is the houses in your neighborhood selling for, and that will kind of dictate on what your house will sell for.
Can I go on Zillow?
No.
Zillow is inaccurate.
No,
Yes.
pero ahí
Yes.
dice que
Your home is worth half a
like
million.
yeah, half
You
a
bought it for
million.
100.
Yeah.
Let's
And
go.
you're only paying $1,500 too.
Yeah.
Half a million, $1,500.
Right.
Zillow doesn't include on your monthly payment your
Yeah.
insurance, your taxes,
Escrow.
yeah, all that good stuff. It just tells you your principal and interest is gonna be 1,200. Hey, I saw this on Zillow. I can get it for 1,200 a month. No, everybody will be buying. Right?
Zillow is a marketing tool.
Mm.
That's what it is.
Yes, it
They're
is.
trying to get you to either apply or,
Do some-
reach
like,
out
reach
to them
out,
so
there
that
you
you
go.
can get a house. you know?
Gotcha. So I reach out to you. We go over that. You tell me you're gonna do an appraisal on the
Yeah.
house, which an appraisal means what the house is worth.
The
Right?
market value,
The
right?
market value at that time,
Correct.
and what it will sell for. What's the average, plus or minus a few thousand?
Correct.
What's the
So it's all market driven again, right? Because if you have a 3-bed, 2-bath home,
Mhm.
and it's your next door has the same 3-bed, 2-bath home, 1,500 square foot, just like yours, right? And it's sold for 300,000, and you expect me to put yours for 350, I'll let you know, hey,
you're
yeah,
reaching?
let's be realistic.
Okay.
You do have nicer countertops, you do have fresh paint. That's gonna help with marketing, right? But a lot of times people add unnecessary things, thinking that their home will appreciate more, but no.
Right. So I listened to. I started because of the conversations we've had. Bigger pockets. I started listening to
Yeah.
them again, and it's the same thing that they talked about. A lot of times you do put a lot of value on your living room, or you do something
Yes.
thinking like, I'm gonna put lightings. I'm gonna make it look nice. Or I'm gonna put like all this
Yeah.
the cool stuff for the TV, and then
It's going to be worth this much. And,
right,
no.
and it's not because the next person might not even like it. So
Exactly.
they're not gonna want They're not gonna wanna.
So you wanna update your house according to your comps. So according to your neighborhood. If your neighborhood, everybody's adding like a patio on the back, then that's gonna give you value because it's supported by your neighborhood, right?
Okay,
But if
okay.
I always advise a pool. It's a big one, right? If you buy a house with a pool, it's cheaper that way than for you to buy a house and build a pool,
Yep.
right? Because if you're the only house in the neighborhood with a pool, it's not gonna get as much value,
Much
right?
value.
But if multiple neighbors have a pool, then you're like, okay, according to my comps, I can get more value
Right.
from my
And then
pool.
you gotta find who's gonna look at it, who's gonna want a pool.
Exactly.
Right, you start narrowing
Yeah.
who you can sell to
Yeah.
because not everybody's gonna want a pool.
No, especially if they're looking like in a $200,000 market, 250, 300. Like we don't see a lot of pools in that area. So like, who's gonna be your target audience?
Right.
Who's gonna be your target clientele?
Okay.
So you wanna partner with a realtor, right, or even an appraiser, and kind of they'll give you like key points.
Okay.
Because a lot of times people think that the county value is your market value, and it's not. You want your county value to be lower than your market value for tax purposes.
100%.
Yeah.
And always protest your taxes.
Yeah, always
Don't forget.
protect.
What
your
does that
taxes.
mean?
Protest your taxes with the county, right? You can either hire a lawyer that specializes in doing that, or you can go yourself to the local county office, tax office, and you just have to provide CMAs, so the comparables that you can get from a realtor, and then just say, okay, look, my house is not worth as much as you're claiming
As you
it to be
think it is.
worth,
Okay.
because the county's always going to increase the tax values because they want to tax you more,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So it's always good to protest your taxes and keep that tax value lower.
And we can help protest taxes. So if anybody needs help with it, I'm here to
Even if
help
you
as well.
haven't helped me, even if you haven't, we've
Exactly.
never
Nah,
worked.
We're
still-
here to help our community
Yeah.
at the end of the day, right? We're all Hispanic here, and that's our biggest clientele. A lot of times we're stuck renting because we think that we can't buy.
Right.
Or
Pero
Sí
sí
se-
se puede, mi
sí se
gente.
puede,
Sí se puede.
si se puede, hay un préstamo para
Así es.
toda la gente.
Hey, that was a good video that y'all did. So let's talk about that real quick. Marketing, like how is that? How do you guys think that's changing? Like video, social media. You can't just put an ad on a billboard no more like you could before. You can't just put it on the yellow pages
Yeah. Ya no- ya no-
or business cards. Does business cards still work?
It's
You
a
think?
business card's good for networking, I think.
Well, I don't
right?
know anymore. Business cards are going away. Now you just tap your phone and then you
True
get your
that.
contact, you know?
That's
So,
a good thing too.
Kind of like your Instagram profile could be like your resume now, because
Yeah.
people before, if I get recommended, you recommend me you recommend me to somebody, they're gonna look me up on Instagram. They're like,
Instantly.
okay, I like his personality, I like what he's doing, or nah, he comes off too cocky or something, right? They're gonna create an opinion before they even get to know you, and that's I think naturally humans do that,
Yeah,
right?
just, yeah.
I don't like the way he walks. I don't know. Like before even getting to know you, right?
Mhm.
So I think people do look you up on Instagram first, or Facebook, or even your Google page. They kind of do a pre-screening before they actually reach out to you, right? So I think that marketing in Instagram, social media is crucial for anybody, right? You don't have, and you have to find your niche. Who are you targeting again, right? Who are you targeting?
Exactly.
Who's you have to look at your insights. Who's actually looking at your videos? Are you getting views? And you might get 1,000 views, but only one person might reach out. That's a low percentage, right? But even if it all takes one.
So you have to adjust, right? I mean,
Yeah, you
you,
have
you're
to
talking
adjust.
to Rodolfo, the
Yeah,
sensation
this
now.
guy, yeah,
You
that
know,
boy's been killing it, man.
You know,
He's been doing real good.
when we first met each other, my referrals have always been just personal referrals or people that I work with and they refer me. And I think Rodolfo started that way, right? And now that he's becoming a sensation,
The
I mean,
sensation.
he's seeing the increase, but it's true, right?
Right.
I mean, somebody told me one day they looked at my Instagram profile and they're like, dude, you have maybe 2-3 posts on there. I mean, how do when you reach out to somebody, somebody goes and looks
Where's your
you up?
credentials?
Yeah,
Right.
they're like, well, this guy doesn't do anything. Whenever I close, like, I helped like 70 families in 1 year, right?
Right.
And they're like, nobody would
That
ever
doesn't-
know,
yeah.
right? And then remember, successful people want to work with successful people,
Exactly.
right? So if they don't know what you're doing, and you're reaching out to somebody and they look you up, they're probably gonna say, okay, this guy's just reaching out to me to get
Business.
something from
Right.
me,
Just trying to sell.
So
Because they get calls all the time.
yeah.
I'm sure whenever you applied, you got a lot of calls from a lot of
Oh
different
yeah.
lenders, right?
Yeah,
Like,
real quick.
Mm,
That's
you would text me, hey, is this true?
Is this-
Can they
yeah.
really beat Andress numbers? And I'm like, no, they're just
Right.
trying to get you into the door.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
And I think so. I went through that. So even before I think I reached out to you,
Yeah.
I think there was a guy that was just coming regular, and just conversations. We talked about it for a while, and he's like, "Yeah, we can do it." And I was like, "Sí, hombre, dale, here's my
Yeah.
stuff." And then the lender was asking me for so much things, and
Yeah.
they were like, I don't know what it was, but it was like reach out in like 9 months or something. I don't know what. I
They
don't
didn't
remember what
even-
it
they didn't
was.
guide you, right?
Yeah, and then they were just like, it was like app. That was one of my biggest things. Was it was like just put everything in the app. I was like, "What can I talk to you?" They're like, "No, just message." And I was like, "It's cool, and I get it. People are busy, but like I'm still like I want to talk. I want to listen. I want to ask you questions. I don't want to like text you, hey, what about this? And then you're gonna see it in 30 minutes, and then
Yeah.
you're gonna respond in an hour, and then I'm busy at that time, and then But I know sometimes that's all we have. So it took a while, but then when I reached out to you, and then we talked, like you guys were on the move.
Yeah.
You guys were
And
moving.
I think that since as a realtor and as a lender, and you for your business, you do it every day. So for you, it's kind of like, okay, it's normal, right? But we have to remember that for us, real estate is normal because that's what we live out of.
Right.
But for you, it was your first time home buying, right?
Yes, I
and
didn't know
I
nothing.
helped many first time home buyers, but I haven't helped you.
And all I knew was what Instagram was telling me, and these cool videos.
Exactly.
That was like,
Okay, half of it is
Yeah.
it's just for attention, right?
it's just
And
hooks.
They just show you exactly. It's just a hook, right? Just come apply, and then after I've had so many cases. I know Rodolfo has that. You go midway, and then you're already midway going through the financing, and they change something on you, or something that they didn't explain, and then you're kind of like, oh well, it's kind of too late because you have to close on the house because you have a timeline, right? Usually it takes 30 days.
Yeah,
Once you go
30
under contract, you have 30 days to close and get your keys. So.
It's hard, man.
I like to. I mean, I know Rodolfo meets with everybody in person, and I don't get that chance to meet with everyone in person because it's the realtor and the lender is a little different
Right.
in the working dynamic. But I do like to talk to everybody on the phone. Like my first
Make
time
it
that
personalized.
Yeah.
the first time that Rodolfo sent somebody over, like, hey, I'm gonna connect you with my lender Andress. Hey, when do you have 10 minutes so we can get on a phone call? And then that way, like Rodolfo said, it's personalized. I understand what your goals are, what you're trying to do. Is this your first time
Right.
forever home? Do you want to get into investing in the future? So we can, plan out, what that future looks like. So
That's good. That's real good. And I was gonna ask you something. I forgot. Oh yeah. So now that we got the house, now the conversation has been investing, right? Is that the same? Does it start as the same process as buying a new home? Is it a little different? Is
Buying
it
an
like,
investment
am I a
property?
step ahead because I already have a house, or what's how does that work? Pretty much.
so you have now that you're a homeowner, the easiest way to become an investor is you just buy your next house and you put your current home as a rental, right? Your next house you can buy with 5% down, okay? And then your house that you're living in now becomes your investment. If you're trying to just get into the investing game and just say you're buying a house in Florida or you're buying a house in California or Colorado and you're gonna rent it out Airbnb, then that's 20% down, and it's a
Okay.
little different. The terms are a
right.
little different compared to when you just leaving your current home
And
and
Switch
moving
into
into
a
a new one.
Yeah, I would ask you what type of investing do you want to get into, right? Do you want to get into fix and flips? Do you want to get into the long-term game of rentals? Do you want to get into the multifamily rentals?
Right.
I want to ask, what is your goal with how many doors do you want to own? So, or do you just want a quick flip, and kind of guide you that way, connect you with the right contractors at the end of the day?
But what if I don't know? I just know I want one house.
I would I would look
Like-
at your financials. Hey, let me see where you make a month. How much can you afford if you want to do a rental, right? Can you afford maybe vacancy? How many months of vacancy can you afford? I would diagnose your financial because at the end of the day, the numbers dictate where we go.
Right.
Right. You might want, a fourplex because you can buy a fourplex with only 3.5% down.
Mm-hmm.
But can you really afford that if the 3 other properties
Alright.
are vacant?
Okay.
And I would say maybe this is not the right move
So you'll
for
keep
you.
it real with me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're not
keep
gonna
it
just
real.
try to sell me.
Nah.
Are you sure?
Nah. Well, I'm
Positive?
not a salesperson.
Ooh.
I'm a real estate consultant.
There you
Put
go.
it that way.
That's a good
right?
way. It's a good
Yeah.
way to put it. It's a good way to put it.
That's what I was gonna say though. You know, a lot of people, you know, right now with the duplexes are becoming pretty popular. There's a bunch of here in Conroe coming up.
Where?
You know,
No,
if you're,
wait, don't say that because then people are gonna beat me to it. No, where at?
but if you want to buy like if you're a first-time home buyer and you're thinking, you know, ahead and you want to get into the investing game, that's a great entry into, you know, investing because you can buy a duplex, so you get, you know, 2 units for the price of one with 3.5 down.
Yeah.
I think that's very important because, like now, as an adult, as a like older adult, I guess. What are we? Are we old? Are we just adults?
We're seniors.
Seniors? Ah, su
We
madre.
get seniors discount.
I wish. Like I tell Anthony, my son, you know, and his friends, I'm like, you can do something that I didn't do because I didn't know one, maybe two, I would have still not done it. But main thing is like all these ideas and everything's out there where you could get a duplex, and then you rent the other one, and then it kind of pays for most of your rent, maybe
Yes.
if not all, sometimes, depending. And then you're living for free almost for the same part. And I think one of the biggest things that we talked about once before in a different episode was Hispanics were almost doing the house hacking without knowing you're doing the
Yes.
house
Yeah.
hacking. The only difference is you're renting, right? So it's like you have 4 people in each room and you're all paying, so it seems cheaper, but you're just renting. So it's like having the same idea, but you buy a house,
Yeah.
right? And then you let your tío live with you for a little bit or whatever,
Yeah.
and they pay you some rent, and then you're pretty much buying a house,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
for
exactly.
free, not for free, but you know,
And there's always people willing to rent. You know,
Yeah.
there's people who can buy, but they don't want to. They don't want the homeowner's responsibility. They just want to rent. Hey, if something breaks, call my landlord, right?
Right.
And there's always a market for rentals. Always.
People need a place to live, whether you're renting or owning.
right?
you
People,
know?
I don't know where I heard that, but yeah, it was like people are always gonna need something to live,
Yeah, exactly.
no matter what it is.
So you can't go wrong.
And what's like the good houses to get, like a 3-bedroom for like if you're looking for investment, like a rental property. What is it, like a 3-bedroom, a 4-bedroom, a 2-bedroom? Like
I think. Well, I mean,
on
I
average,
know,
this is all.
Rodo can speak more on
Yeah.
to it because he's, you know, more familiar with that market. But in my opinion, I think for rentals, depending on, you know, who's looking, you know, if it's a single person, you know, maybe somebody that's going to school, then as an investor, you want to buy something near, you know, a campus, right?
Mm.
Or, you know, it's a small family with kids, you know, you might want to buy in a good school district,
school.
you know.
Yeah.
So,
So you gotta pay attention. Yeah, market driven again, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Because if you buy, if you buy in a near Sam Houston, right? Because it's the closest university to us. Competition rates they're high, so you kind of rent it a little bit cheaper, right?
Mhm.
But you're kind of aiming for the long term. Hey,
Right.
I'm gonna let my property appreciate,
Right.
right? So going back to what is your goal, right? But the ones that I've seen that rent the fastest is people who allow pets, because not a lot of rentals allow pets inside the house. right?
Rodolfo sus gatos, ya ves.
Yeah,
tiene
los
que-
gatos,
Yeah.
the cat guy. No, I don't think I could do that.
Allow pets in your rental?
That's tough.
Exactly.
Well, see, but I've learned. So again, and this is just things that I've listened, things that I've read, the different people that I follow is like you can also get your house ready to be rentable, right? Which
Yes.
means you do certain things to the house, like tile or certain
Yes.
things that makes it
Rental proof.
There you go,
Okay,
rental proof,
yeah.
right? So that's a good. Which I think with pets you would want to put flooring,
Exactly.
right? You don't want to do
Carpet or anything like
Yeah.
that.
carpet or anything like that, and like the walls you keep them white, and like certain fixtures and certain things you want to keep that's kind of standard. And if it breaks, which more than likely certain things will, like cheaper doors or certain things that I think I saw one of them is like he puts certain doors in the bedrooms because they're lighter, they're cheaper, and they might break. Those are usually the ones that are scratched the most by the pets. Those are usually the ones
Exactly.
that certain things, so it's easier to be able to do that. And one thing when we went to that networking thing that we went to right here,
Yep.
I don't know if you guys were there, but they said, and I like
The
that
flip
idea.
one?
The flip one.
Okay.
Yeah, that when their daughters went to College Station, instead of renting or getting them
A dorm.
a dorm,
Yeah,
they
the
bought a house that was a pretty basic house. She's like just enough, and their 2 daughters were there, and then they were able to rent the other one.
That's a good idea that I got. You know, when my my son goes to university, just buy a house nearby and then have some friends of his, just rent out the
Right.
place.
Or
you know.
anybody else that's
Yeah,
going to school, just
exactly.
rent it out, and then
That's a good idea. Yeah.
and it's cool because it's a 4-year thing almost, right?
Exactly.
2 to 4 years that they're gonna go there. So by that time, maybe you can sell. Maybe certain things change, and you can sell, or you just keep keeping
renting,
it,
yeah.
keep renting it, and it's kind of like student ready or whatever. You might need to do that. So I think the biggest things is just understanding, como dices tú, what are your goals?
What are your goals?
What do you want to do, or what is your idea of a goal? Because
Exactly.
sometimes I think you can't have a goal if you don't even know what that looks like, right? So
Correct.
like if you don't know what 4 houses might look like, that might not be my goal. My goal might be just like I want 1 right now.
Yeah.
And then maybe I want 3.
And start asking early,
Right.
Like you said, what goal? But just start asking, start finding out. That way you can know if that goal is for you, right? Because you might have an idea that could turn into a goal, so.
Or talking to you and figuring out, are my finances even ready for that? Or what do I need to do
Right.
Exactly.
for my finances? Just like the other days, you guys scared me when you saw the car and you were like, ya no le vamos a dar nada.
Yeah, I was like that. Oh yeah, don't buy a car before you buy a house.
Buy the house, buy the car after.
And that's what we did. So that's another thing that we had to do. So I don't know if you guys remember, I told you or not, but Jimena had a Chevy Cruze. Thing was beat up. Thing was overheating.
Yeah.
It was like we was in the mechanic like every 3 weeks trying to fix this and the alternator. But it was like I told us, like, our goal is the house.
Yeah.
Once we get the house, then we can go from there.
And those sacrifices that you have to make for a little bit, to be able to buy a house or for any goal in life, you have to make some sacrifices in order to get to that goal.
And I think that was the big thing, and people would be like, "Yeah, güey, compré un carro, güey, no mames, this and that." Like, but I'm like, but yeah, that was the main thing. And then, I mean, we lived on Legal Road, so it was like a 8-minute drive here. And I was like, as long as it gets her there. Yeah. And then, like, as she was getting close to the house, she's like, it's starting to heat up. I was like, we're about to make it. You're down the line. You're at the light. Wow. And yeah, she would make it. And I was like, hey, whatever we got to do. And then in the morning, I would le echaba más agua just to.
But, I like that commitment, right? Because it takes a lot, especially situations like that. Sometimes that you might not have a need like that, and you still, go buy a car or go get your or no compres muebles, right? I know you're moving into a house and then you go to the furniture store a couple days before the closing and get a new credit card, get all the muebles. Do not do that. Wait till you get the keys in your hands.
Do whatever.
You want.
I think that's what you told me too. You're like, don't buy nothing yet.
Yeah.
Don't buy nothing. Don't use your credit. Don't do anything like that. And I was like, all right, I guess I can listen.
Or
to
quit
these
your
guys.
job. I had that happen. Somebody quit their job. Quit their job like a week before closing. We're like, why?
Yeah, because I think even to the last week or two, you still needed my bank statements.
Yeah.
You were like, hey, we need it again. I was like, este güey ya me trae
Well,
hasta la
a lot of
madre.
people, a lot of people don't know you might get the clear to close. That's what it's called whenever everything is clear for you to close. It's called clear to close. But still, the lender could still run or check things up to 2 days, two to 1 day before the closing, to make sure everything is okay.
Because the lender still needs to protect themselves, right? Because
Right.
the lender is giving the money or getting you the connections to the money, and then if you default or if you're not in the right position, because also the lender, I'm sure, doesn't want to give you a house that they know you can't afford, and you're going to be there for 3 months, and then you lose it, and then it's like, it's a bigger thing.
Foreclosures and all that.
Right,
So yeah.
Right. How about foreclosures? Can you get those?
Yeah, we can get those for you.
Are those good to get or are those hard to get?
It's
On
a
average.
process. So I did one last year, and you have to be patient because it takes a little bit longer to close because you're dealing with the bank, right? Like directly that the bank, they might not have a loan officer directly to contact, so you have to go up the ladder. They have to approve every single document. Little letters wrong, they have to go back and fix it, right? And it takes about maybe 4 days for them to respond, and 4 days in this game is a long time.
4 days
right?
is a long
We
time.
are in a time frame for every little thing. So inspections are in a time frame, appraisals are in a time frame, everything's on a time frame. So you have to be patient, but yeah, there's some foreclosures out here, and we're seeing a lot of those right now, right? Because people bought more than what they can afford when their interest rates were low.
Right. Because once it all comes up, then that payment's gonna go up.
Well, it goes up must come down, right?
Yeah. Well, what I see a lot too, and Rodo, you probably can speak to this, is that a lot of people bought new construction over the last 2-3 years, and what happens with new construction stands that I want to put out there is that the tax value of the property is usually based on the land, right? So once you move into your new construction, and I've seen that because a lot of new constructions have gone up for sale.
Yes.
Is once you have a year or two in the new house, that property value is gonna skyrocket because now they're gonna assess with the house and the
Everything.
value.
Yeah.
So when you bought the house, you're paying $200 a month, $300 a month in taxes because that's what the land value dictated. 2 years later, that payment can go up. I've seen somebody their payment went up $800. So I'm seeing a lot of new construction now coming to go for sale
That's good
because
to
it's
know, 'cause
like
I didn't know that.
yeah, it's a payment. It's called payment shock, right? Once the property value gets assessed correctly with the house, they're gonna just increase your payment.
So, for instance, like the neighborhood over here where they're building that new high school,
Yes, Cielo.
I think what so by
Lindo?
by the airport over here.
The airport, Cielo.
Yeah, Cielo, is that what it's called?
Yeah, that tax
So
rate.
like those houses they're smaller, they're nice, they're okay. So now that they're building a high school, now that all those houses that might
Oh,
be
you're talking about
on
I know the name.
336.
Yeah, no, I know the name of it. I saw a couple homes there.
Ah man, no sabe, damn it.
Se me va el
No,
nombre.
you're good.
Pero ya sé cuál
Pero
es,
but
cuál es.
that's
But it's getting
that
me.
might be an example. Yeah, but that might be an example, maybe kind of
Clifton
where
Hills.
where it might go up because the school's coming up, the houses are gonna be all built. I think down that road they also made that road bigger, not 336, the other one, Airport Road.
105.
Yeah, no, Airport Road.
Yeah, airport road.
That has a point. Yeah, taxes, the property tax as a whole of the neighborhood will go potentially up, right? But what I mean is on a specific house, like when you buy your house and it hasn't been appraised by the county with the house on the land, and then you buy it, and then the next year, let's just say you buy the house right now, and the property taxes say that the property tax is only $3,000 a year because it's only based on land value. Once you buy it and they appraise it with the house, that property tax value goes up to $10,000 because now there's a house on there.
Right.
So that's a $7,000 difference in taxes that you have to
Divide
cover.
that by 12. And then,
So your payment, once you get a loan, it's a fixed rate, 30-year fixed rate. Your house payment can't go up.
right.
Because insurance can go up.
But your insurance and your property taxes are the only two things that will fluctuate.
And that's a misconception, right?
Yeah.
Because people always ask us, but is this a fixed rate? It is a fixed rate. Oh, my aunt had a house that told her it was a fixed rate, but the payment went up. Well, it's because your insurance could go up. It could be that your taxes went up. And it could also go down, right? Your taxes go down after the new neighborhood starts paying down off some loans that they got to build a construction neighborhood. Then your taxes can go down, so your monthly payment's going to change as well. So the rate is fixed, but the monthly payment can still change based off insurances and taxes mainly.
Yep.
real quick, we went over this, but real quick, someone said, "What's the best way, in your opinion, to get a second house to rent?" That's what we talked about, right? You. Oh wait, this is second house to rent. Oh no, that's the 20% down.
So the third house.
A second house to rent. So if you already own a rental home and you have your primary, you can do it with a 20% down.
20%.
20%
You would
down.
need 20% down.
Or if they want to rent their primary home that they live in right now, they can get into the third house with 5% down and rent out their primary home.
Correct.
So I will just ask them, where do you want to live at? Do you want to live on this next purchase? Do you want to change primary homes? Or do you strictly want to buy a third investment property?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
But obviously there's some, we have to answer some questions on the lender side, right? Because you can't, they're going to ask, right, why are you buying this house as a new primary if your house that you already live in meets all your needs? Or, it has to be, there has to be a good explanation as to why you're buying another house as a primary. Either you're moving closer to work, or your situation changed, you're downsizing, you have a bigger upsizing, bigger family, things like that.
Gotcha.
So
And
the
then
simple way to buy his third house will be with that 20% down.
he confirmed he said a second investment property.
Yeah.
So he already has one investment property, and he wants to get a second investment property.
So there's different ways. So
Just a
second
basic.
investment, you can do it as little as 15% down. There's a program, we talked about it briefly. We didn't talk about it, we just mentioned it, the DSCR, that asks you for no income, no debt. All you have to have is a good credit score, have your primary house or rentals, and then with as little as 15% down, as long as the property cash flows. So this next house, if you put 50% down, and we're gonna send an appraiser, and they're gonna do a market evaluation of the rent as well. So as long as that market rent is $1 over what your mortgage payment would be, with whether it be with 15-20% down, you're gonna get the
That'd
loan.
be good. Okay.
Yeah.
And here's their Instagram, guys, so you guys can follow them and reach out. They love questions.
Yeah, we do.
So bombard them and
Love to help.
and reach out to them. I was gonna say, oh yeah, what if how does it work if someone co-signs for you? Does the person have to live there?
No. A cosigner is just taking that additional financial
Burden on them.
responsibility, right?
That if you don't,
for that person, that if that person that's living there doesn't pay, then you as a co-signer will cover that for them.
Okay.
The misconception is that, once I co-sign, I can't buy anything. I can't buy anything for myself. No, after on an FHA loan, there's two types of loans. Well, there's many different types of loan, but the main two, FHA and conventional, allow that after a full year of the primary person paying out of their own bank account that mortgage, then that co-signer is not held responsible for that payment.
That's cool.
You have to have a full year, 12 months
Of proof.
of proof without any late payments.
Gotcha.
If you have a late payment, then the process start over.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, so making payments in time is very, very, very
Yeah.
important.
So that's kind of what I'm gonna go through with the car. If I have to prove for a year
Yeah,
that the business is gonna pay the car.
exactly.
Why didn't you tell me that before I got the
I
car?
told you, don't buy the
No
car.
buy a car.
Go return it.
I'm about to, and then take the hit,
Take the hit.
and then we can just get it credit card to get it off my record.
No, don't do that. Don't do
No,
that.
no, oh, no. Oh,
That's gonna take like a. That's
do
gonna
you
take
work
like a year.
with people that fix credits?
Yeah.
Do you have connections and things like that?
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that helped me too. As I did hire somebody
Yeah.
that even before I think we started the conversation, or I don't know, but at one point I hired somebody, and he did take a few things off that I had. And
How was your experience with that? Because a lot of times we get some feedback like, "Oh, I never heard back from them" or something like that.
so the guy that I got recommended, and he is higher prices compared to some other stuff, especially now that I see. But he took full control.
Yeah.
He was giving me monthly updates, what's going on. And at the beginning, he made me do certain things, and I was like, why am I doing this? Like, you should be doing this. That's why I paid
Yeah.
you so much. But I understood because I have to call the credit bureau.
Yeah.
And there's like a few small things that mattered that I didn't know mattered. So like one of them was like, I had to fix my addresses because I had like 3 addresses, one with like an apartment and then like a house, and even had like my mom's house at one point. And one report had my mom's house, and it was like fixing it because the only way I compared it to is like right now in business with your Google page, where I'll stake on credit, where they want to be like, okay, Ray is the same Ray that lives at one house that has this one car, and this is who he is. So once I have different houses and different things, like my credit is all over the place. Like I lose credibility or
Yeah.
trust with them
Yeah.
because they're like, well, who is he and why is there so many things? And like once I was able to just fix my addresses, call the bureaus and say, hey, I live here. What was the other? I think it was address. Oh, and then I froze my accounts. And I froze my accounts like where nobody else could run my credit no matter what. Once I did that, I got like 20 points, something like that.
Yeah.
And then he started disputing all the other stuff that I had that was like previously done before. Like one of them was like child support, that I never paid child support, but it was like court official that I shouldn't pay child support, but
Yeah.
it was still there,
Oh.
right? So like stuff like that como dijimos, I didn't know. I did because I don't check again. It's not my
Kind of just go on with your life and life
right,
is
because
so
it's
busy
like
that
I'm
forget.
not. The cops aren't calling me to pay child support, so I'm good, right? No one's calling me. Everything's good. So, but it was
that
like still
170
there,
that came back and haunted you.
right?
You
Like that
forgot
170,
completely.
right? It's like what the heck? And then it's funny because I do remember when it was, and then I was like, it's gonna. I don't have to worry about it.
But you know what?
But it was still
I
there.
see that a lot, especially with I don't know, but like electric, utility bills. That hey, I cancel my services and they still wanted to charge me a cancellation fee, but I'm not gonna pay it because it's not. Ya cancelé, ya no me importa.
Right.
It's come back. Hey, you have this from 6 years ago. Reliant or whoever it might be. Still charging you for this, and went to collection. It's always better, because once your credit, credit is very important, right? So it's for $100, $50,
Yeah,
just pay it.
For 170, it came back and haunted me, brought me back like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I think one of the key things that I wanted was to close to Jimena's birthday. And I think we closed like a week and a half after.
Yeah.
And that was part of it too. But that's part, like the 170 from 8 years ago that I didn't take care of. I had to. I think that's that other one over there. But
That's why it's important to ask early because you never know what's gonna show up on your credit.
Right,
And
right.
something that you might have done a couple years ago is gonna come back and haunt you
it's
right now.
still
So
good.
ask early. Like it's never too early to start. It's never too
And
early to start.
Real quick, another thing that we pulled up, and then I talked to the credit guy was, there was something that said that I had a car loan or something like that. I don't know if you remember, but I think they had Ray, and then they had like my Aguilar was spelled different, but it said that I still owed, or that I had a repossession or something like
It was
Yeah,
that.
a
repo.
repo.
A
It was
repo, and I was
yeah.
like, no, and then like we tried to look for the company.
Every phone call was a new headache for Ray.
Right, and I was like, what? Like, no, and then I talked to the credit guys, like, your credit's clean, like, there's nothing on there, you don't have no repossessions. I was like, no, but I think we did a letter or
We
something
did a letter, yeah,
to
that
prove that it wasn't me.
It wasn't you, because Ray, you know, the credit is gonna pull everything that's ever been reported under that name associated with that address.
Right.
So if anybody, any Ray had written Ray Aguil, you know, or you know misspelled it, and it kind of
And it's
you know,
like Conroe or
yeah,
like Houston.
compared to you, it's gonna pull up under your name. So yeah, I mean they look
That was
into
another
everything.
headache,
So
too. I was real quick to quit. I was like, fuck this.
Yeah.
I was literally gonna be like, yeah, we'll keep renting for another 2 years, and then I'll just get, you know,
But it
100.
was worth it, right? It
Yeah,
was
yeah,
worth all
yeah.
those
It's been good, like day one, and then like the biggest things. I was the guy that I never wanted to rent, so I had a owner to owner mobile home that I bought with the property, right? Because I was like, I'm never gonna rent, and then I moved to an apartment, and then I was like, oh, this is cool. I don't have to stress about nothing.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this thing doesn't work. Hey, the lights not work or whatever. You know, this isn't working. And then I was like, no, but this is not mine. So then now that we have the house, it's like this is good. And then
Yeah.
understanding the equity and understanding all that was a lot better. Are we good on time, you guys?
Yeah, I'm good.
Good on time. So now we can talk about Dragon Ball Z and other stuff.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, you like Dragon Ball Z?
I love Dragon
Oh
Ball.
yeah, but no, I think the process was good. It was very stressful, but you guys did help us a lot, and I appreciate that. But yeah, now we're getting ready for like the second and hopefully the third, and then
It's
go
just
from
a
there.
snowball effect, right?
Right, and I
You
think
got the experience because you remodeled your house, so you got the
Mhm.
experience remodeling. Nothing out of this world,
no,
right?
nothing.
You got in there with the pretty low cost.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, it was pretty low, a lot lower than I thought, you know. And then we're thinking like, oh, it's gonna be this much, okay? Like we're not gonna be able to live the way we were living before because we have this. But I think based on what we were renting to what we paid, I think it was like an extra $150 a month, the difference.
and
You
that's
know,
something that you own, you
right?
know.
And it's mine now and everything, except I can't call nobody to fix it, but it's okay.
Yeah.
But now I'm
Call
being
Jimena.
right.
Jimena
but
Antonio.
but now I'm
Antonio
being
Piquerías.
como se dice, proactive. So now the freeze comes. Now I do need to go out there and check it. It's small things, but it's nothing crazy. When before I was like, fuck the freeze, hay que vengan y la regla. But then that means that a renter's gonna think like that too.
Yeah. But that's why
Karma.
you rent to prove it.
Yeah, well, I
Oh.
mean, the house that I rent down in Spring, I'm always, hey, you know, the freeze is coming, and I went and dropped off,
Yeah.
you know, things like, hey, put them on, and I take the AC filter and things like
Make
that,
sure
you know,
it's-
like, because, you
¿Qué
know,
no te cuesta nada?
see, o sea, you know, a
Do you
couple
ever-
extra bucks.
Somebody else is paying your mortgage.
Yeah.
Right. Do you ever check the houses? Like when I rented the mobile home when we went to the apartment. Oh, that was another thing. I was like, I can rent the mobile home and it's paying it off, and it's gonna pay half my rent at the apartment. I was like, this is badass.
Yeah.
But you ever? I know I put it on the contract. I did it once, but it was like every 3 months with the 1 week notice, I can come into the house and look at it. You ever do that?
I didn't have that clause with them. They're super. I mean, I've been blessed with those tenants that I've had. But you know, every time I call them, they're like, "Yeah, come to the house." I've gone to the house. I walk around. I mean, it's a military household, right?
Mhm.
And the guy that rents, he was in the VA, so he's pretty responsible. Has
Gotcha.
older kids, you know, no pets.
No
There
pets.
you go. See, no pets. See?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
you know of.
Oh, that's another thing too.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
so-
when we were at the apartment, I had to get my dog was ¿cómo se llama? That if we needed him,
Yeah.
so that way I didn't have to pay the deposit
Como
to
se
pay all
dice,
that.
Emotional support.
Emotional support animal, yeah. So I had to do that to get the dogs in there. But now I know. Now that I did it, now I know the loopholes on what to look
Yeah.
for and go from there. But no, yeah, it's been pretty cool. So hopefully this next house we should be able to
Yeah.
get going. But it's pretty stressful
We
too.
can go back for the house with the red door.
Nah, heck no.
No.
Gotta stay away from that. I don't play with any of that stuff. You guys believe in
Like,
spirits and demons
Somewhat.
and
No, nunca me ha pasado something like out of the normal
Mhm.
for me to believe it, right? But I'm not opposed to.
I've in my family, I've had not me personally, but like my back in Ecuador, where my grandparents bought. I mean, I heard some stories, and you know, different people told me the
Same
same thing. So I
yeah.
was like,
So you're like, it
that's-
must be true.
Yeah, it must be true. You know. So
No, something like that happened to me. It was funny because I didn't know about this, and then once we got together, I found out later, like 2 years later, that they had played with the Ouija and like all this, and I was like, That's why
Who played with the Ouija?
we don't people know.
Undisclosed.
Undisclosed. But then I was like, so nothing like that happened, and then after a while I would hear like, and in my mind I'm like, no, pues no es nada, right? Now we're hearing footsteps, and then like a year later or whatever, somehow it comes up, and I was like, is that why I hear that stuff? She's like, oh, you hear it? I was like, I've always heard it, but I don't believe in that stuff until now, and then like I hear it, but yeah, I don't know. That's some creepy stuff. Anthony le pasó one time where we were in Colorado, and like I heard knocking. We went to sleep, me, him, and Alexis. We had gone for Alexis's birthday to Colorado, and I heard knocking, and I was like, oh, it's okay, room service, I'm good, and I go to sleep. And I hear it again. We're good, thank you. I kind of go to sleep again, and I hear, Daddy, and I was like, what? And then I put my hand, and I was like, where the hell is he at? And my daughter was next to me. I was like, what? And I go outside, and I open the door, and he's on his knees. I was like, what are you doing? He was like 10. He's 15 now. He was 10. I was like, what happened? I bring it
On
in,
his knees?
Yeah,
Outside?
he was like on his knees on the door. He was like when I opened it, he was like, Dad.
Wow.
And I was like, what? And he's 10, and these doors at the hotel, they're heavy. And I remember I always, do that extra latch or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell? And so I bring him in. What happened? He's like, I don't know. Like I woke up and I was outside, and he never sleepwalked, right? Like instantly, like, okay, he's never sleepwalked. He's never had no issues, like nada. And then I reach out. I'm like, hey, you better not be playing with that stuff. Like your son was out here, like this and that. Like no. I get back, and I was like, yeah, I was kind of like I was trying to prove it to somebody. So she was with somebody else. They're like, oh, spirits, blah blah blah. And then she was like, if you're here, like make yourself known. Y se prendió un monito or something.
No,
and they went to it, and they're like, it's off. And they're like, if you're here, let yourself know. Y se prendió la luz. And I was like, I said some stuff, and then I was like, don't like que te lleven a ti, like whatever. But yeah, like that.
Man, that's crazy.
And it's funny because where it happened, there was no cameras. Like I was like, I'm at the hotel, and the camera was like all the way at the end of the hallway. But I was like, screw that. So then of course I did like some research or whatever, and I'm Christian, so I was like, as soon as you see it, like you can supposedly talk to them like you're not welcome here, get the F out, like fuck off, and just like you're not welcome here. And they supposedly like, okay, yeah, away, see you, I see you later. Al rato vengo or whatever. But yeah, that's why I'll always stay away.
Well,
from,
no wonder, yeah.
No wonder the red door is not a.
That will remind you that.
Yeah.
I mean, if something like that would have happened, like I experienced it personally, then probably it would be the same way. Like, man, you know what? I'm not gonna get into that stuff.
Because we get asked a lot, like, do you know if anybody has died in this house or something like that?
That's a good thing.
Yeah, but if it wasn't caused by the house, like if somebody didn't trip on the stairs and passed away because of the house, then I don't have no knowledge of it if somebody passed away or not. So it's hard to answer that. And it's gonna hinder myself. So.
No. But isn't there I watch it?
Disclose it.
Yeah, I watch it in movies or something. After a year or two, you don't have to disclose it, or
no. Like if somebody dies in the house because of the house, like there was a trip hazard inside the house, then the seller has to disclose somebody passed away because they tripped on the stairs, right? And that was the cause of death. But if somebody passed of age in the house, then they don't have to disclose anything.
Or murder, husband kills a wife, or
I think murder they don't have to disclose either.
But you can look it up.
You can look it up.
Yeah.
You'll find it. But
did you try to look it up and find it?
If they ask me, I'll try it. But honestly, I don't, right? Because I don't really believe in it that much, I guess. So it doesn't really affect me. But if my clients ask me, then I'll go back and do some research.
Right. You would do that for your client?
I would do that and more.
Hey, you gotta do that video he said about bench press, and then I'll do anything.
That's good.
Yeah. But
I
no.
that from the lender too.
And there you go. You true.
I'll be
you're,
the one
you're
spotting.
right, you're right next to him. Oh, yes, se lo sueltas.
Yeah.
That'll be a good
You
one.
don't have to show houses for me.
Right. No, but we just saw a movie, and they said something about that, like, oh, it's been after a year, so we don't have to disclose it or something like that. It was a movie though.
Every
so
state is different, so every state has different guidelines. So a lot of people from different states that come by into Texas, then they'll ask me different questions that normally Texans wouldn't ask me, and I'm like, this is a new question. But yeah, every state has way different laws.
Things.
Yeah.
Is that why you can you sell houses in different states?
I can refer you, but every state requires a license for
Okay.
that specific state because for many reasons, right? Building codes, everything.
Is there some that are like maybe Texas and
Not for
Wyoming
Texas.
is the same?
Not
and-
for Texas.
No, Texas is Texas.
Texas is Texas.
Every state
Eso.
has its own guidelines.
¿Y tú también? What
No,
you
I
lending
can
and stuff? or
I can do investing in any state.
country?
Investor. What do you mean?
Country
Country?
like Mexico?
No.
No.
No. That's a different
It's a whole
animal.
different monster.
Uh,
Do you have
yeah.
connections over there?
Yeah,
Legal
I
ones?
can-
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, you beat me to it. I was like,
Yeah, I mean, I can find out and then get you. I know there's some realtors that go right now a lot to Loom. You know, can Playa del Carmen because there's a lot of investing going on over there. So
you know what?
Nah.
You should
we
go.
can make it. Hey, you trying to invest in Tulum?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll go for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
It's a
There you go.
business
No, I mean
expense.
that's also like it's on the to do list. Like it's on the goals things.
Foreign
Like
investing.
yeah. Like buying. Like I understand mi cuñado is like it's a nice area. It's some nice houses and stuff. And we've talked about it, of course. And then the prices is like.
Oh,
I give me a $200,000 house here. That's okay, and then that $200 will
Mansión.
get
It's a
you.
mansión, huh?
Yeah, so it's like, and he says I had him on the podcast when he came to visit us. But from his understanding too, is it works the same way. You got to get approved. You got to put a little
Yeah.
down payment, things like that. Pero pues, it's a lot more. The money goes a lot more, right? So here,
Yes.
if I have to save 20% down, maybe over there I need to save 10% down. Does that make sense? If 20% down here for a house is I don't know $25,000 over there with $25,000, get a bigger house.
50% equity already.
Right? Yeah, you're already.
Yeah, but that's from U.S. people that live in the U.S. right, buying over there because people buying there.
Oh yeah,
Exacto.
totally different. So that's also another thing because she's real close with her family. I mean, so am I. But the goal is also my biggest goal of everything and why I do what I do is time management.
Yeah.
Like we've talked about it in the podcast before, where I have employees, I have this, and I can easily be at the store 8 hours a day, and it would save me a few extra $1,000. But to me, that extra 1,000 is not gonna. It might be give me closer to the next rental, but it's not like life changing.
Correct.
Where I rather go ref, I rather go play pickleball, I rather hang out with the kids, I rather go to the gym, I rather get home early. I rather that than the extra few $1,000 a
You
month.
rather have a life.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So part of the goals that we have too is like where we build a system here where we can go to Tulum or Tijuana for like 6 weeks, and then we have our house there, and we have and then we just that's what we do. It kind of like that thing we went to, that networking,
Yeah.
where they have that
What we did.
Hawaii house.
Yeah.
That's that. I mean those are like, once they said that, I was like, okay, so our thought process is not too far away, right? Where it's like we can have a house in Boston. We love Boston. We can have a house in Boston. Maybe it's an Airbnb. Maybe it's a whatever rental it is, and then we just kind of fly there for 6 weeks, and now we don't have to pay a hotel. Now
Correct. Yeah.
stuff like
you
that,
can-
and it's a business experience too. Depending on
Exactly.
I gotta go renovate it. I gotta go check on
Depreciate
it.
it, all that, especially with Airbnb. That has completely revolutionized the game of investing, right? Especially for people like you that want to have different houses in different places. As long as you can Airbnb it, it'll pay for itself and more.
Right. And even if it just covers it. But it's like we said earlier, networking and making these connections. See, if I don't go to that one, maybe it's possible, but it was just here, right? I was like, it's probably just an idea.
And that kind
But
of
then they,
unlocked it for
right,
you.
they unlocked it like, okay, it is something. Someone's actually doing it. It's actually possible. So now we just
It's
need
kind
to.
of like you don't even have to reinvent the wheel. Sometimes people think that they come up with something new, but people are already doing it. So
Right.
that's why networking is so important, because you got guided by somebody who already has that experience, right? Because somebody doing it, they did it and they went through struggles, but you're just seeing the end product.
Right.
Let them guide you, because they already went through the struggles. People charge you for guidance, but it's worth it because it can save you a lot of money.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that for someone that wanted a smoke shop, and I used to have that a lot. I'm sure you get that too sometimes. But they would always come in. Oh, I wanna grow. I wanna open this, and I would sit there for like an hour. Oh, let's see this, do that, and then like 6 months later they come back or whatever, 3 months. What did you say I needed to do? And I was like, bro, we went over it. You gotta do this, and this, and then they come back. Hey, how'd you say I need? I was like, bro, that's okay. I'll help you, but I'm gonna charge you.
Yeah.
Pero like at first I was like ¿quién soy yo para cobrarle like $100?
You have to give yourself credit,
Right, and I was like, who am I? But then once I started doing that, they're like, hey, we're thinking about opening a shop. Can you help us? I was like, yeah, I charge so and so. Oh, we'll let you know. Yeah, boom, like the conversation until somebody came and they're like, oh, bro. I was like, yeah. He's like, here. I was like, oh shit, they paid.
Consulting. Now
Right. I was like,
consulting.
oh shit, they paid. Now what do I do? But what I went through a year, 2 years with the shops and permits and the county and all that, I was able to give it to them quick, and they saved. They paid a lot up front, but they saved so much time.
Time is money, they say.
Yeah, and once they opened up, they were making money. It took them like 2 months to start making green or profits, and we were good. So I think
What's the most common thing that you see when people come ask you they want to start their first business, right? I guess what is the most common question they ask you, and what is the most common thing that they don't do? Like So a lot of if 10 people ask you how to start a business, how
Mhm.
many people will actually take action?
I would say 0.5 of those 10,
So less than 1%.
less than 1%, or less than 10% would do that. And I think, like I said, I would can honestly say probably 20 people, 25 people would ask me. Just that one person, that couple came in back and they were like, "Yeah, here you go,
Yeah.
teach us. We're willing," and they were willing to be coachable. And I think that was the biggest
That's
thing.
the biggest thing in
Right? I
any
was like, "Hey,
business.
you need to do this, do this, do this, do this." Oh, it's because we were thinking. I was like, "Do this, this." Okay, yes, sir. Or not, yes, sir. But they're like, "Okay," and then they would, we got the premise. Oh, it's because my friend said that I need to do this, and then okay, you can do that, or you can. Okay, okay, okay. So so they would kind of give me some pullback, but they were always like, "Okay, let me listen to you." I helped them find the locate. Or I helped them get a location, which takes times too,
Yeah.
right? And then we found one that was for sale. I was able to tell them this, tell them that, because part of that was like, "Can you do it for me?" He's like, "No, no, no. I'm coaching you. Like, I'm not gonna tell them this, tell them this, tell them this." They got they bought the store real cheap. Okay, now you got this. Now we need to take this away. We need to take this away. We need to add this. Okay, you sure? Yeah, it's because I like these. I was like, "It's not what you like. It's what the customer's gonna like."
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like, okay, okay. And yeah, 2 months, they're like, they called me excited. The lady's like, so this couple, real quick, had been working in factories for like forever. They saved a lot of money, but they were working 12 hours a day. Una pareja, they both work 12 hours a day. So they're like, "Oh my God, like we're here, we're with each other. I just paid myself $500 from the business to myself. Thank you." And I was like, "Damn, that feels badass." Like, they were able to pay themselves from the business. So they were in the green right away. But I think that's the biggest thing, is to be coachable, to do that, and willing to pay someone to guide you in the right way. But also doing your research, because even with them, como te dije, sometimes I would kind of myself, I'm like, who am I? Like, I'm just a little guy here that just happened to get two stores or whatever. But like, there was like, oh, there's also this other guy, but he charges way more. I was like, I don't know who he is. Maybe interview him, sit down, talk to him, and then go from there. But yeah, it's been pretty cool.
Yeah, always ask questions in any business, right? You want to start your own business, ask questions, get guided.
Right.
Because being a realtor, being a lender, we don't get leads. Like, hey, a broker doesn't say, hey, help him out. We have to go out there and look for leads too. And that's one of the biggest things too. When a new realtor asks me questions, they're kind of stuck in their own ways. Like, just do this, and everything will fall into place, right? And then throughout the time, as you get experience, you're gonna develop your own style. And that's probably the same thing for business owners, right? They develop their own style, their own marketing style, their own way of treating their clients' experience, but they have a foundation, they have a base.
Correct.
Yeah.
And the main thing is just understanding that someone went through the process, had the headaches. Like a lot of times at the beginning, I was like, I'm gonna pay my employees 1099, because I'm not gonna pay the payroll tax. And then the CPA's like, that was dumb.
Yeah.
Like, you saved a few hundred, but now you're gonna pay this much more in taxes. I was like, fuck. Pero yo pensando like, I got you. So now with people, I tell them like, do it like this. Oh, but I'm gonna pay. Yeah, pero at the end, you're gonna get a return, or you're only gonna pay so much less. And like, same thing with the escort. I was like, oh, I'm not gonna escort because no sé qué, whatever. Right? What I see on Instagram,
Yeah, exactly.
And then the CPA is like, no, you need to escort, and you need to pay yourself, and you need to. Oh.
Let the expert be
Let
the expert.
be the expert. Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hey, you owe me a prep.
what do you think all these people, like the president, right? He surrounds himself with the experts of every single field,
Right.
and he gets advice on what to do.
But now he
That's
just needs
everything,
Elon.
Yeah,
Ya con Elon ya
that's
está
Vanessa,
bien.
yeah.
What do y'all think about that? Y'all talk politics or no? I don't talk politics.
Not a lot,
Not much.
no.
I'm not very.
I don't know.
knowledgeable on that.
Estoy bien ignorant. Yo nomás digo Papi Trump out loud, and just to make
You got a
people
couple
mad.
haters on
Yeah, just make people
Yeah.
mad. Just when he didn't have something like Papi Trump. Yeah, so don't have. No, I think it's cool. I think just the little that I know about it, I think it's pretty cool. At least what I hear in social media and what I hear in the news and podcasts that I listen to, I think it's pretty cool what's going on overall, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
we'll
we're
see what
Hispanic, so
happens.
we know the other side of it too. But I think overall,
We're
it's
conflicted in between.
that's the worst part. I think being in the middle,
Yeah.
scary.
Very, very scary.
But don't worry, no te van a llevar. You're good. I was scared que me iban a llevar a mí. But anything else, guys? Feedback? Where can people find y'all?
On
Andre-
MySpace, I'm still on MySpace. Nah, I'm just kidding.
I believe you. Like, some of me actually believes you.
Nah.
No,
MySpace is long gone.
Fax
right?
me.
facts.
Mandame un beep.
Fax still works.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, fax still works.
use it a
Yes.
lot.
I don't know what I had to do.
I didn't know people actually use voicemails.
Voice.
Voicemails is like a really
No.
big thing.
Really?
Yeah, because
I mean,
my voicemail is full.
tengo like 87,000 voicemails, but I don't listen to them.
Yeah,
But people leave them.
not anymore. If you got so many, it's probably
Yeah.
full.
It's
Yeah,
probably
probably
full.
full.
The person you're trying to reach
It's
can no longer
right.
take it anymore.
But I think text messages helps that.
Yeah.
Yeah, text
You
message
just text
helps.
it real quick.
Yeah.
That's a lot
Well,
easier.
you know what's replacing voicemail is now you can leave the little voice message on the
Mhm.
text. You know.
Oh,
You
that's
send
true.
that text, so.
That's true. Yeah, I use that to text sometimes because I don't know how to spell that good. So I'm just like, hey, what time are you guys coming? We said 8, stuff like that. And then
Mhm.
And Andress shows up at 8:30.
at 8:30.
Nah.
807.
Hey, real quick, what do y'all think about ChatGPT? Do y'all use it?
Yeah, I've been using it a lot. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, it saves you so much time, especially if you wanna, think about new ideas or something like new content. You can just type it in and say, hey, what do you think if I should, talking about
Yeah.
this
That's where you
idea?
got the gym idea from, the weights.
To be honest,
Actually,
Yeah. You don't use it?
I use Chat. I'm starting to use it right there, and it's definitely gonna help in the industry a lot. So, but it kind of takes time for the ChatGPT to learn your style.
Mm-hmm.
So give it time. But yeah, I'm gonna start using it a lot more. Yeah.
It does PDFs. I just realized that the other
It
day.
does everything, man.
So I had a customer with the phone stuff. They needed a repair. They went somewhere else to get it, and they had already paid a lot of money. And then they came. I was like, look, the best I can do is charge you for the part and a little change. That I can't afford it. And so I was like, you know what? Like I'll do a payment. Like I'm here to help, right? Like the people need their phone. So we did a little thing. And I just told ChatGPT, hey, can you make me a contract that says this person's gonna pay me this much, and then in 2 weeks they're gonna pay me this much, and can you add the logo and this, and
oh, nice.
and then it's like, do you want it in PDF? Yes, PDF. And then I printed it, and it was like Longhorn phone repair, like all like, and then it's like based on the terms, que no sé qué, que no sé qué, que no sé qué. I was like, oh damn, it gave me 2 parts to sign, everything. I was like, send it. When before it was like me trying to like
Think about it.
trying to. But they do say it's probably gonna kill critical thinking,
It might.
which makes sense in a
I
way.
mean, it's already killing the thinking of students because a lot of students
The
are just
iPad
using
kids.
it to just go, what do I gotta say in this
True.
class, or what do I gotta type up, and
Yeah, I don't. I do my classes the right way. Hey, ChatGPT helps a lot. All right, guys. Well, thanks for coming by. We have your Instagram here. So we have Andress got mortgage.
Yep.
Is that correct? And then we have rodo.solis. So last thing, ask questions.
Ask questions.
never
It's
too
never too
early.
early.
Never too early.
We get questions every day. Not everybody gets approved, so you won't be the first or the last.
Okay.
And
well, we'll always have a plan for you.
I was about to say that,
Regardless.
but you at least figure something out.
100%.
Not today, in 6 months, in a
Yeah.
year.
It's
Do
not a
this, do
never.
that.
It's not just not. It might be a not now, but it's
it's not
never
a
a never.
Okay. Any other advice? You got a loan for everything?
You got a loan for
that?
everything.
Everything.
There's a solution for everything. Let's
And
just
you
talk.
got a house for everybody,
I have a house for everybody.
regardless.
Any size.
Investment, properties,
Investments,
trailers, land, everything.
land, mobile homes, everything.
All right, guys. Well, thanks you guys for coming.
Thank you for having us,
Appreciate
man.
y'all.